Hey guys, welcome back to GLiiDeR TV. Today I am here with Scruffle and we are going to be doing a first impressions video of Gears 5 multiplayer modes. So let's get started. Ruben, do you want to explain what Escape is about?
Sure. So the first mode we jumped into was Escape, which is the brand new mode to Gears of War. And essentially what's going on in Escape is that you play as these three hero characters. Each of them has their own passives and an ultimate ability. And these characters purposely get snatched by one of the Snatcher monsters and taken into a hive. And once they're in the hive, they plant these toxic bombs, which are meant to, eradicate the hive. But as soon as you plant the bomb, you have to escape, which is, self-explanatory. So you plant the bomb, you have about a minute to gather your things and start making your way out of this dungeon, basically. And as you make your way out, you encounter a bunch of enemies. And yeah, so as you're making your way out and fighting through these enemies, the toxic gas that you planted earlier is kind of pushing you outwards also. So like if you take too long to eliminate these enemies and get out of the hive, the gas that you planted will actually start killing you. So that's another element of the game that kind of creates more intensity, anxiety.
Yeah. And with playing for the first time on Escape, it was like a really challenging game mode because it's brand new, we don't know what's going on, and like realizing that you barely have any ammo and there's like less of those ammo boxes that you can find, but you can only find them in those little rooms that don't have like an entryway to another area, so you just have to like find those. But just by playing it, it's really fun. It gets your heart pumping because it makes you want to, win and not die at the same time, because when you're playing, there's enemies that can be coming behind you. So that's also another thing that makes this a little bit more harder. And they do have a couple of difficulty modes for Escape. So the harder it is, the more rare cards you get, supposedly, from what I saw in the menu. So yeah, I mean, like those are my thoughts of the Escape mode. Like I just think like it's really, really fun.
Yeah. And I'd also like to clarify that the dungeon you're trying to get out of is pretty linear. Ruby kind of touched on like branch pathways that you can kind of sidetrack on to look for ammo and stuff. But for the most part, it is pretty linear. And the hive that we played today, we played it a couple times, and it's the exact same hive every time you play. Like it's a pre-made dungeon basically, and so you know what to expect every time you go in it. Into, like, let's say you completely master it, you learn where all the rooms are, where the boss enemies are gonna spawn. The way you up the challenge is at the start of the game you can up the difficulty by like 6 or 7 tiers. Today we played I think at the second tier, which is just like an intermediate difficulty, and even on intermediate we had a pretty tough time just because the ammo is pretty scarce, and the boss enemies really challenge you once they appear.
And then also what I realized on different levels of difficulty, it's different bosses. Because remember that one time we had like that big huge warden dude, and then we had the flock.
Yeah.
I forgot what else, but
the bosses spawned in the same part of the map, but it was a different boss for the different difficulties. And also, as you make your way forward, Ruby also mentioned that enemies will start coming at you from behind. I'm pretty sure that's something that's implemented, that the devs put in the map. So like once you reach a certain point of the dungeon, they'll spawn behind you in a room or something. So you kind of always have to watch your back. Or once you learn the map, you'll know when those things are triggered.
And then also what I recommend for Escape mode, always like keep either a shot grenade or a frag grenade, because there's gonna be moments in the game where the juvies come out and it's like a big huge horde of juvies. So
giant swarm of them.
Yeah, so those grenades can really like help them out, because Scruffle here, he got like 8 kills with 1 frag grenade, and that saves so much time from escaping.
Yeah, so that's another thing, like trying to save time, trying to get out as fast as possible, because as soon as you get out, you're greeted with your time, you know, how quick you escaped, and that time is like the main leaderboard stat that gets posted. And I think our first game we played, we escaped in like 18 minutes, which was like good enough for like top 3%. You know, that was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
And the second time that we played on a slightly harder difficulty, it took us like 23 minutes or something.
Yeah, I think it said 26 minutes around there.
Yeah, quite a bit longer. But yeah, like my opinions on the mode is it's pretty interesting. You know, some people might not like the fact that each hive is the exact same every time you play it. Right now, there's, I think, 3 or 4 different playable hives, you know, just basically different dungeon layouts that the devs designed. But another thing I wanted to touch on is that these hives, you can actually make your own hive with the map builder mode. So you enter this mode and you're given these like tiles, and each tile is basically like a hallway or a room that you start attaching together. We haven't tried that yet, but we saw it in the previews and it looks really cool. And apparently whenever you create your own hive and you insert all the AI and everything into your map, you can actually play your own hive and publish it. And the only way to publish it for other people to play is you have to beat your own hive. You have to escape from the hive you created. And I guess they do that just so you don't create like an impossible hive that nobody can beat that gets published.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's really cool. I think that's gonna bring a lot of attention to the mode just through the map builder. So far, pretty positive. I'm pretty positive on it. Hopefully, in the future they'll implement more variety in the map design. You know, the tiles that you're allowed to build with. But yeah, so far I like the characters and the flow of the mode.
Yeah, I really like the characters. I forgot his name. I think it starts with a K or something. The dude with the mustache. Forgot his name, but his special is like the ammo supply. So there's like a certain ring around him that you have to stand in to get ammo, and that's honestly so useful because like, you know, if you're doing a higher difficulty and you can't find any ammo, he's like the main dude you would want with you, because you know, like you need the ammo to survive, because meleeing is not gonna help. Sometimes it does, but like when
meleeing is pretty weak when you're going up against the drones or some of the robot enemies.
Yeah.
So yeah, the ammo is very valuable, and that guy's ultimate supplies the ammo. So.
Also, I just want to add that there are juvies that have grenades on them. So my experience, I died from one of them when we first played. I think I have the clip of it, but yes, I died from that juvie. So you like, if you see a juvie that has like little strings on his back or whatever, just like kill him and just like jump out of the way, because those grenades are like really, they have a good distance to get you.
It's basically like a kamikaze grunt, like from Halo, if you're familiar with those.
Yeah.
They just charge you with armed grenades.
And the one thing that I like about with Escape, like they really made the juvies a little bit more
of a threat.
Yeah, more of a threat, because like previous games the juvies weren't really a threat, but like now
they come at you in like a big swarm.
Yeah. But I guess that's our thoughts for the escape mode. So yeah.
Alright, we'll move on to what we thought about Horde.
True. Alright, so now we're gonna be giving our impressions of Horde. So Ruben, you wanna explain what Horde is for people who haven't played Horde before?
Sure. So essentially, this Horde it's pretty similar to past iterations of the Gears Horde mode, but they did make some pretty major changes. One of them being that each character has their own ultimate, kind of like an escape. And also there's even a supportive character in the robot Jack that's really fun to play. Jack is a great character for people who aren't really experienced with shooters, because he's very easy to handle and easy to support your team, even as a inexperienced player. But essentially, Horde, you create a squad of 5, and you basically just defend wave after wave of enemies. You're given a fabricator to kind of help fortify your selected position at the start of the game. You place this fabricator anywhere you want, and the fabricator allows you to create defenses, weapons for you to use, and you basically pay for these defenses with the power that enemies drop. So wave after wave, you'll be trying to accumulate power, survive, and just fortify your area that you want to defend. And every 10 waves, you're greeted with a boss. Every 5 waves, I think it's a mini boss of some sort. And yeah, you try to make it all the way to 50. And at the end of each 10th wave, so 10, 20, 30, 40, the enemies are buffed. So at the end, like in our case, when we played up to wave 20, after the 10th wave, the enemies were given double health, and at wave 20, they did double damage, I believe. So the stakes keep getting higher, and the difficulty keeps rising along with it as you progress. So yeah, those are the basics. Mm-hmm. But what'd you think of this Horde?
So going into Horde, when we were first playing, like seeing that each character has their own ultimates, and then also seeing that you can also have 4 perks for your character, and each character has something different, but those perks, you have to use the fabricator energy you have, not the one that's in the fabricator box, but the ones that you have, so that you can upgrade those perks. And every time you upgrade it, the fabricator cost of the energy cost becomes higher and higher when you level those up.
Right.
So you kind of want to choose which perk you want to have that's like really good for your character. So like, let's say for example, Kate, she has a perk for the shotgun damage. So that one is like the one that you want to kind of like upgrade more, because as the waves increase, the damage of the other enemies are increasing too. Like the health is increasing, so you kind of like need that. And then
kind of piggybacking on your point about the upgrades. One cool moment that we had while we played our first 20 rounds was Ruby was upgrading her shotgun damage with Kate, and I was playing as Jack, the supportive robot, and I was upgrading my health and movement speed perks. And one of Jack's abilities is that he can grant a teammate damage resistance. So since Ruby was upgrading her shotgun and she was going in, just all in, super aggressive, I just stayed behind her and just granted her damage resistance. So it was a pretty cool synergy that we had going.
Yeah, I was getting like kills after kills after kills after kills, explosive heads. But yeah, and then also Kate's ultimate that she has, it's invisibility. And the one thing that I like about using that ultimate is that when you go through like the drones and stuff, and since they can't see you, you can easily do a execution right away. So that's what I like about her ultimate. And after that execution, your invisibility is still going, but your invisibility stops when you start shooting. So you kind of like really want to go a little what's it called? Kind of like
stealthy?
Yeah, you want to go stealthy at first, and then when your ultimate is about to run out, that's when you know, like, start shooting. Because, like, I made that mistake where I turned on the invisibility and then I started shooting and then it just, like, finished. So just yeah. That's cool.
That's another attribute that Jack has also. He can also turn invisible as a passive. So, like, anytime you're not shooting or healing or like running in his case just like moving faster, he's invisible. So that's another good like entry or like attribute for entry level people who don't really know how to play and they still want to supplement their team. Jack is a great character to start with because he's just naturally invisible unless you start shooting or zapping them with his little zap ray. But
the one thing that I like about Jack though, when you zap them, it like stuns them so they can't shoot anymore.
Yeah.
So that's what I like about Jack.
He deals damage and he stuns them. And also he can pick up weapons from around the battlefield and bring them to his teammate or take them to that new station called the
it was like a furnace type
it was
of thing.
like a furnace. You take weapons to it and you basically melt them down into more energy or power for you to use. So yeah.
And also when we first played Horde, I played as JD, and when I was looking at his perks, I forgot what they were, but they were like pretty good for his character. But his ultimate is like little artillery strikes, but that can only happen if you yourself mark the enemies. So when you barely start off as JD as a beginner and you don't have like a bunch of cards for him, when you are using your ultimate, make sure you use it when there's like 2 or 3 drones next to each other so that you get more out of your ultimate.
Yeah, you maximize the damage. That's another thing I forgot to mention about Jack is his ultimate. Jack's ultimate allows you to hijack an enemy AI. Yeah. So like that's super awesome because some of the bigger enemies are like the Scion or the DR1 robot, like those massive enemies, and you can hijack them and play as them for a bit and just start wailing on the enemies, you know, with one of them. That was really fun. It only lasts like 15 seconds maybe, but it's enough time to really deal a lot of damage.
Yeah. And then also, now that I'm just kind of like remembering, because like the leeches, when you're on the map that has like it's like a snowy level map and there's like ice everywhere, but when the leeches come, they can basically melt the water, and if you get downed and while you're in the water, you can basically die because you get frozen and you just die like that. So it's that map it has a challenge to itself because the water and ice on that level can like hurt you really bad and kill you. Yeah, because like when you step in the water, you notice that your character is going super slow, and that means, you know, you're basically like freezing. So you basically want to avoid open waters for that snowy level. I forgot what the map was called though. But overall that's my thoughts. I mean, like I think this Horde is probably like 5 times better than Gears 4.
Yeah, like comparing it to Gears 4, we really enjoyed Gears 4's Horde too, yes. But there were some aspects about it that, you know, changed here. Like here in Gears 5, they changed these things like for quality of life. One of them being that, so in Gears 4, you used to have roles to play. So like somebody would be a scout, somebody would be an engineer, and so like the scout would be he would be in charge of like picking up all the power. He would be the only one allowed to pick up the power because he gets like double power from picking up off the ground. And then the engineer would be the only one allowed to build because he can buy fortifications cheaper than everybody else. So like these roles were in play, and a lot of times it created a lot of toxicity between people, a lot of frustration because people didn't play their roles, and it would lead to a lot of people just straight up quitting out of a match like towards the beginning, which is really frustrating because these matches can go up to like an hour and a half, sometimes, like trying to beat level 50, and imagine getting to level like wave 40 and then half of your team quitting because they're not playing their roles correctly or whatever.
Yeah.
Well, basically Gears 5 gets rid of that because now the roles are gone, and now the like this hero system is in play, right, where everybody has their own abilities, and there's a lot less emphasis on each person doing a specific role. Everybody is a lot more balanced now, so everybody can pick up power, everybody can build whatever they want to build. I mean, of course, it's always best if you communicate what you're building to your team. That way everybody spends their money wisely. But yeah, overall, I like this change because it's going to eliminate the frustration of people not playing as a team. And also, if somebody does quit, the game throws in an AI buddy for you. So that's
so cool.
you're not going to have a full strength team of 5, but it'll be 4.5 basically.
Yeah.
Which is better than nothing.
No, but the one thing that I like though, the AI teammates, they actually revive you.
Yeah.
So that's what I like. But also, like, I want to piggyback on your, like, the frustration thing and, like, the stress and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now the boss waves, they have it where the boss has that health bar. And that makes it less stressful because now like,
right, yeah.
how long it's going to take for the boss to die or whatever. And the other thing is that every time a wave ends, you can still move around because, like, in the Horde of Gears 4, every time the wave would end, you would just be stuck in frozen or whatever. But
yeah, it's like the match would like recalibrate after every round or something. And I mean, it still does it. It still does it. Whenever you complete a round, the leaderboard screen comes up, and then you wait like 10 seconds, and then the new round starts, which is still kind of annoying, to be honest.
Mm-hmm.
But at least you can move around. You're not like stuck in place.
Yeah, and pick up power too.
Yeah.
But also, when you finish the wave, it has that countdown. But you also have the ability to skip it. So if everyone like skips that countdown and like votes to skip or whatever, you just go straight into the other wave.
Oh,
so
right.
That's what I like because it saves a bunch of time.
And you get rewarded for skipping the countdown too.
Yeah, you get points from that.
You get rewarded for being prepared.
Yeah, because now like. Just playing this Horde, it's much more organized. They put more thought into it, especially like with the characters having their own perks. So that's why I really, really, really like this Horde because it's so interesting.
It really does feel like an optimized version of Horde, like fully optimized.
Yeah.
And they also promote movement. Like in past Horde iterations, you would set up the fabricator and just hunker down on the side of the map and just never move, and you would just completely keep fortifying that little piece of the map and just hold out there for the entire game. But now here in Gears 5, the Horde mode, eventually, I think every 5 to 10 rounds or so, this thing will appear on the map called like an energy. I forgot what it's called. I don't know, but it appears on the map, and you go contest it, kind of like a King of the Hill ring, and you have to go. You defend it, and it'll generate power for you. So that's another it's an incentive to get out there, get out into the map, and actually move around as opposed to just
being in one spot.
Yeah, the entire game. That can get kind of monotonous.
But while we were doing that with like the energy thing, like where you, because like you have to collect the energy, but what I noticed, because you said something when I collected the energy that it said upgraded. So
yeah, we're still learning what exactly that power generator is that appears on the map. We don't really know its exact purpose, its full purpose, but we'll get to play more in the coming days. And we'll talk about it in our full review once we get a full grasp on Horde and the rest of the modes.
Yeah, and just like one last thing though, so with Scruffle's character when he was using Jack, his character got downed, but it was like downed on a wall, and I couldn't even pick him up. So you had like no, you didn't have like that press X to like hold to revive or something.
I couldn't be right.
So
it's like since Jack he flies around everywhere, he can fly on top of like little median sections of like walls and stuff. And I got downed while I was on top of one of these sections, and they couldn't reach me.
Yeah, so I recommend that, like, if you know you're getting shot, and
stay away from
yeah,
those.
stay away from those things, because it's really frustrating. And then like, especially like if you're getting like high in like one of the rounds, you kind of need Jack because he helps revive people, and he heals you. So
he's such a simple character to play, but he plays such an important role. Like it's easy to get into him, but it's hard to master. One of those type of things. Like you really have to be on your game with him to support your team to the max.
Yeah, but yeah. So those are our thoughts. Like, you know, overall, like Horde is really awesome right now.
I predict we'll probably spend most of our time in Horde. If not Horde, probably, you know, King of the Hill as usual in the verses. Yeah, you want to go move on to verses?
Yeah, now we can move on to verses. All right, so now we're gonna give our thoughts on verses and, you know, what we think about it. But I guess I'll go first.
Go for it.
So with verses, for me, I mean, like, just playing it felt kind of the same ish.
Yeah.
You know, like nothing too different. The only thing that's changed are, like, you know, the hit markers when you get hit yourself, and the blood like thing is a little bit more up there in your face, so it's kind of like really hard to see sometimes.
Yeah, the what is it called? Like the damage indicator, the red omen that appears when you get hurt.
Yeah.
It's pretty obstructing, and it's really detrimental in versus whenever you have a lot of high-level players coming at you.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, versus, it feels very similar. I was able to jump in and dominate just as hard as I've dominated in Gears 4.
Praise.
Heck yeah. So yeah, it feels very similar. Maybe just some quality of, like, minor quality of life things that were changed. And overall, you know, we'll probably spend most of our time playing King of the Hill like we did last time. That's one of the most high intensity modes. It's one of the longest modes too. Like you spend a lot more time playing each round, so it's fun. A lot of carnage.
The other type of like gameplay they have for versus is like that arcade quick play or something.
Arcade, right? Yeah.
Because like that one, I think it's every time you get a kill, you get a certain amount of points that you can buy. You can buy a gun yourself. So I think that's kind of like one of the fun parts of the arcade.
The developer said that they implemented this arcade mode so that people who are new to Gears had something a little less hardcore to get into first. Because I can imagine being a new Gears player, not knowing how to wall bounce or not knowing how to maneuver, like jumping into a King of the Hill game and just getting slaughtered by like all the shotguns. So they created this arcade mode to be a little more of a casual entry, and it's exactly that. Like there's not a lot of people rushing with Nashers, the shotgun, because you don't spawn with a Nasher. You spawn with whatever class specific weapon you're using. And then, as Ruby said, you get kills, and then you can buy weapons on the fly from like a virtual little imaginary store that they set up. You just press a button and you buy a weapon with however many points you have available. But it's fun.
It makes it fun too because you can practice using other weapons instead of just like playing King of the Hill. All you have is the Lancer and the Nasher. So that arcade mode can, like, you know, help you practice the other weapons in the game.
Right. That way, once you do get a handle or like get a hold of a power weapon in King of the Hill, you'll you'll be already practiced up with it.
Yeah.
That's one of the things, you know, those other modes can be so hardcore. You pick up a power weapon and you're trying to contest to the power weapon, control it, you know, control the map, kind of like in Halo. Control the map so you have the power weapons at your disposal. And so yeah, you want to be practiced up with those power weapons once you do get them. So arcade is a really good mode to do that.
I agree.
But another thing we should talk about, because I mean, the versus side of things is pretty self-explanatory. It's basically the same as it's always been. But the biggest change now is the progression system. So they added a progression system similar to that, those that you see like in Apex and Fortnite. You know, these battle pass systems. But this one is free. Like you just buy the game and you're already in the battle pass. So well, here they call it like the tour of duty, and stuff like that. So yeah, you just complete challenges, just, you know, what you're used to from other games like in Apex. Complete challenges, you earn points to rank up the tour, and you'll just start making your way up. And I think each season is like 3 months, I think they said. And so yeah, that's pretty cool. It's awesome that it's free. Of course, they still have a microtransaction store that you can, you know, go into and use real money to buy specific cosmetics, but nothing is randomized anymore, which is awesome. Like, you know what you're getting. It's so much better than Gears 4. Gears 4 was so bad, and they never changed it. Gears 4, everything you did was to earn coins to buy a gear pack, and these gear packs had skins, they had Horde boosters, they had, you know, everything. It was horrible. Everything in that game was an RNG loot box. And I mean, they had like certain things you can actually just straight up buy with real money, but it was also RNG. So it was really bad. This is a complete like flip flop of.
So yeah, I mean, versus right now it's cool, and I'm glad that they added the arcade mode, because, you know, it just helps you get a little bit better with some of the power weapons. So.
Yeah, without getting rushed by crazy Nasher pros.
Yeah, people who use like their freaking mouse and they look like they're glitching everywhere. Oh my god. But yeah, I mean, like that's just my opinions. What are yours?
Overall, the multiplayer suite that they have going on here with Escape, Horde, and the versus modes, honestly, it's insane. It's insane that they have this much content, and it's insane that they're not doing any RNG stuff with the loot boxes. Like, it's super consumer friendly, and on it, like this game could really hold your attention for a long time.
Yes.
And that's something that a lot of games nowadays are missing. Like, games will come out and they're like really heavy on the single player, really awesome single players, or really awesome multiplayers. But they just focus on one thing. They put all their money in that, and like that's it. Like, you have single player games that come out and score really well, but they won't hold your attention the way a game like this will. It's insane how much content this game has. Yeah. And we haven't even touched the campaign yet.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know, the next video, it will cover the campaign when we finish it,
so
I guess.
Look forward to that. The campaign video will have our thoughts on the campaign and I guess an overall review score.
Yeah. So I guess 2 other videos. I guess. Yeah.
Just like a fun fact, I don't know if I've told you this before, but I was looking, because you know how the Xbox tracks how much time you've spent in each game?
Yeah.
I was looking for what game I've spent the most time playing, like in the past, and Gears 4 surprisingly was like the most time played. It was like I played that game more than Halo.
Because I checked on that too. Gears 4 and Halo 5 is tied, because I was constantly playing Horde like almost every day. Halo 5, I was constantly playing those Warzone firefight modes. So those like basically like made me play forever, days and days and days. But yeah, like I mean, now that Gears 5 came out with all these type of modes, all these medals you can get to unlock certain characters and skins and stuff. Wow, like it's gonna take you such a long time to do, but it's gonna make you like be into the game.
Yeah, there's a lot of investment here.
Yeah. And then also, Gears 5 has less achievements than Gears 4, because I think Gears 4 had over 100, but now Gears 5 has 68 achievements to unlock.
For you achievement hunters out there like me, I probably won't ever finish the achievements for this game because some of them are really hard. They require a lot of time. But,
yeah. Especially the Seriously 5.0.
What is that one?
You have to like do all the master Horde on you have to master Horde all the maps. Escape 2 you have to re-up 20 times. Yeah. I forgot what the other one was. I think there was like 4 or 5 on there. But yeah, it's gonna take you a very long time.
You basically have to max out the game for that achievement.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever gotten any of the Seriously achievements in any of the games, which is kind of sad because.
I mean, like Gears 4, I'm like really close to it because I just need to finish
the ribbons.
Oh frick!
The ribbons are nearly. Yeah. Those are really really hard. But anyways, we digress again.
Yeah, sorry. But okay, that's our first impressions video. So thank you guys for tuning in on GLiiDeR TV. I really appreciate it, and stay tuned for the next campaign review episode.
Bye, guys.
Deuces.